Hello, in this video we're going to learn how to use the linear graph methods in determining the reaction order of a reaction. Typically, the question will give you a table containing the time taken for the reaction to move forward and the concentration of the reactant for all of the periods of time right here. So if the question wants you to prove that this reaction above is going to be zero order by using linear graph, what you need to do is you have to plot a graph, reactant, the concentration of the reactant versus time based on the integrated rate equation right there for zero order. So you're going to take the table as it is, and if the plot is going to be a linear or a straight line when you have concentration of reactant versus time, that means the reaction is proven to be zero order, since the concentration versus time is a linear graph. So this is very important for you to write in exams, because you will be given some marks right over here when you want to conclude your plotting. So next, if the question wants you to prove that the reaction is first order reaction by using linear graph method, so it's going to be slightly different. Now we're going to plot the ln concentration of reactant versus time based on the integrated rate equation for first order. In this case, because the question gives you the table like this, you have to modify the table a little bit. So you're going to change the reactants. You're going to convert that into ln concentration of reactant before you want to plot the graph. So the table over here is what the question gives, okay? And before you want to plot the table, you have to modify to this form. So you're going to plot this versus the time, okay? So that part over here, that part over here for the plotting. If the plot is linear, like what you are seeing on your screen, ln concentration versus time, if it's going to be a straight line, therefore the reaction is indeed a first order reaction, since the ln concentration versus time is a linear graph. Next, if the question wants you to prove that the reaction over here is going to be a second order reaction by using linear graph method, it's going to be the same as what you have done for first order, but instead of changing the table into ln concentration, we're going to change the reactant concentration into 1 over concentration reactant based on the integrated rate equation for second order reaction. This is what the question gives, and we have to modify the table like this. Okay, you need to write the modified table in exams, because this table right now will give you a mark. Same goes to the first order reaction just now. So if the plot is linear, like what you are looking at right now, when you plot the 1 over concentration of reactant versus time, if you have a linear graph, the reaction is proven to be second order, since the 1 over concentration versus time is a linear graph. Let's have a look at one example. Given the data for the decomposition of W, so you have W reactant decomposed to produce products, time is given on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side of the table, you have the concentration of the reactant. Okay, so now we can use this information over here because you have the concentration of the reactant, and the question wants you to show that the decomposition process is a first order by plotting a linear graph. So how do you do this? So you have to modify the table given to you. So this is what the question gives. And we have to change that into here. You need to take this and you need to learn all of the concentration to get those values, and we're going to take that value and take that value over here to plot a linear graph. So when you plot the linear graph, you will get a straight line. Therefore, the decomposition process is a first order reaction, since the ln concentration W versus time is a linear graph. So when you plot the graph, you need to remember to label your axis correctly with the units. Okay, so you have to put the units for your axis, then you get 1 mark. When you get a straight line, you get 1 mark. And when you write the title over here, you also will be able to get that 1 mark. And it's also important for you to show the slope right over there.